active participation of the private sector in the economy. The area-based commodity development approach is a focused, integrated, and market-driven way of developing commodity value chains by concentrating on one or a few high-potential commodities within a specific sub-region, covering the entire value chain from production to market. In essence, this approach targets commodities where particular areas of Uganda have a competitive advantage, allowing those sub-regions to specialize and thrive. The ABCD approach, once again, aims to enhance productivity and profitability around the targeted commodities, strengthen farmer incomes and reduce rural poverty, promote agro-industrialization and regional economic growth through value addition, improve competitiveness in domestic and export markets, and ensure sustainability through area-specific ecological practices. There is clear evidence that successful economic development reforms should be rooted in the economic development of individual sub-regions in the country. At the micro level, area-based development helps improve the livelihoods and productivity of individual households, farmers, and enterprises in the sub-regions. And at the meso-economic level, this approach leveraging the economic, infrastructure, and industrial data to drive growth. These clusters then become the engines of industrialization and competitiveness within the respective sub-regions. We have seen success stories of the area-based development approach elsewhere. In India, for example, the area-based approach has been applied for crops like mangoes and spices with great success. In Africa, the ABCD approach has been used in staple crops such as maize, cassava, coffee, and cocoa to promote food security and increase exports. In the Asian countries, commodity corridors have been developed for products like rice, palm oil, and aquaculture, demonstrating how focusing on specific regions and commodities can drive both local and export growth. The key benefits of the area-based commodity development approach include concentrated investment that creates a stronger impact, reduction in duplication of interventions, economies of scale in production and marketing, and branding of regions with specific commodities, for example, Renzori tea and Elgon coffee. The ABCD portal, ladies and gentlemen, is a digital tool and a one-stop center designed to operationalize the ABCD approach through data. It provides a robust virtual platform for high-frequency data and information about selected commodities to enhance sub-regional competitiveness. The portal offers both qualitative and quantitative data along the entire value chain of chosen commodities. We have initially piloted the portal with 3 agricultural commodities of coffee, maize, and tea, capturing and relaying information at every stage, from farm inputs and production to processing, marketing, and export. In addition, the portal maps public investments in each sub-region that can be leveraged by the rural private sector. And by illuminating these investments, such as the infrastructure, processing facilities, financing initiatives, among others, the portal encourages private investors and entrepreneurs to increase production and productivity, make better investment decisions, and effectively utilize available assets. Ultimately, this should drive job creation, employment opportunities, and higher incomes in sub-regions. In terms of the alignment of the portal with the National Strategy for Private Sector Development. The portal is duly aligned across the three main pillars of the micro level that aims at increasing the competitiveness of enterprises. Here, the portal empowers individual farmers, SMEs and entrepreneurs with data to make informed decisions by providing market prices, production trends, and other relevant statistics which help increase the profitability and competitiveness of enterprises. At the meso level, under the second National Strategy for Private Sector Development, the portal facilitates sub-regional development by strengthening commodity value chains specific to each area. It enhances sub-regional competitiveness by building on each area's unique strengths and thereby contributing to balanced regional growth and the development of commodity-based industrial clusters. At the macro level, ladies and gentlemen, the portal provides insights on export growth and thereby improved policy formulation. In terms of the success metrics of this portal, we shall measure some key metrics including export growth in target commodities, where an increase in the volume and value of exports for the pilot commodities will indicate that the portal's insights are contributing to improved market performance and value addition in these sectors. We shall also measure private sector investment and participation, where growth in private sector investments in the focus sub-regions and value chains will signal enhanced confidence and engagement as a result of the data and opportunities highlighted by the portal. We shall also measure the regional economic outcomes, where the improvements in regional indicators such as farmers' incomes, job creation and productivity levels in the targeted sub-regions will be tracked to gauge the portal's impact on sub-regional competitiveness and poverty reduction. We shall also measure the portal usage and data coverage. The adoption rate of the portal by stakeholders and the expansion of data coverage will serve as a key measure of success, where a growing user base and database will mean that the portal is providing value and is sustainable in the long term. By way of methodology, the development of the ABCD portal followed an inclusive and collaborative process. We adopted a multi-stakeholder approach involving key stakeholders from different ministries, departments and agencies, private sector representatives, development partners, and the academia, who are all engaged to ensure that the portal meets the real needs on the ground. A technical working committee comprising technical personnel from selected MDAs was constituted to provide guidance and expertise throughout the development process. This committee ensured that the portal's design and content aligned with existing government systems and could be integrated into our broader data infrastructure. The development itself was carried out by the Makerere Incubation and Innovation Center team using agile methodology. This meant working in cycles with continuous feedback, allowing for flexibility and adaptation at each stage. The interactive and adaptive approach will continue to enable the team to collaboratively and continuously refine the portal's features, ensuring a user-friendly and effective solution. In terms of the call to action, ladies and gentlemen, as we launch the ABCD portal today, I call upon all of us as stakeholders to make full use of this platform and to continuously provide us with feedback. Your insights will help us perfect the solution as we expand to onboard other non-agricultural commodities in the future. The success of the portal depends on the active participation by farmers feeding in data, the businesses seizing information to invest and innovate, and by policymakers incorporating these insights in decision making. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for listening to me, for God and my country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Diana, for giving us context of the portal and the fact that the integration and, of course, the work at the back end continues as you continue to receive feedback from all the key stakeholders. Allow me very quickly request on behalf of the ministry, our Acting Director, Economic Affairs, Moses Kagwa, to come and make this keynote statement on behalf of the ministry. Can we warmly welcome our director, ladies and gentlemen?
This is not my speech, so I'll try to read it verbatim. Honorable Ministers, the Vice Chancellor, development partners, heads of MDAs, local government leaders, heads of academic and research institutions, captains of industry, and farmers' representatives, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the launch of the ABCD portal that is scaling up our abilities to connect and empower sub-regions to enhance economic management. Ladies and gentlemen, the area-based commodity development portal, which we refer to as ABCD, is a digital tool by design and function. It is the digital nervous system of our tenfold growth strategy. It will transmit data to provide economic signals from sub-regions. This will equip actors with the right information to act faster and make and private investments. Uganda has adopted an ambitious trajectory to grow our economy tenfold from 50 billion US dollars to 500 billion US dollars by 2040. This requires disciplined execution, private sector dynamism, and a focus on export-led value addition. It is how we grow and expand our export basket. I'm pleased to note that this is the spirit and standard that the ABCD approach and portal brings. The fourth National Development Plan emphasizes area-based interventions targeting sub-regional strength and granular evidence rather than one-size-fits-all approaches. The parish development model pushes data and accountability to the lowest unit for which the parish economy and asset register, which we call SPEAR, is produced. Similarly, local economic development and the local economic growth support program across trusted sub-regional intelligence layer to bring these strands today. What is unique about the ABCD portal? The ABCD portal is a digital tool that consolidates data about commodity value chains at sub-regional level. It blends together with objectives of boosting regional productivity, value addition, and growing sub-regional economic output. This portal provides an integration layer that complements existing systems including PDMIS and CIS, thereby providing the holistic sub-regional view that planners, investors, researchers, and local leaders have been missing. Significance of the ABCD portal. For producer organizations and members, the portal, 1, checks prevailing sub-regional prices, production trends, to ease planting, aggregation, and bargaining for better prices. 2, uses GIS to locate input suppliers, warehouses, processors, and collection points, cutting logistics costs and post-harvest losses. 3, compares yields and practices across similar agroecologies to adapt proven methods, irrigation, seeds, seed varieties, and husbandry. 4, receives early analytical signals on weather, pests, pressure, market softening for coordination with extension and cooperatives. For investors and financiers, the portal identifies investment opportunities where production is not supported by enough processing facilities and linkages to the market. 2, assesses production capacity and market access data to optimize plant location and offtake design. 3, uses standardized validated series as a due diligence baseline, shortening feasibility cycles and accelerating deal flow. And lastly, aligns projects with tenfold growth priority commodities and regions to access incentives and blended finance. For policymakers and decision makers, the portal improves planning, budget effectiveness, and efficiency as the core operational objectives of the tenfold growth strategy by targeting funds to the highest impact sectors and interventions. 2, it improves appraisal and sequencing of PIP projects with evidence from the portal, avoiding duplication and misallocation of funds. 3, integrates parish statistics, that's under the Parish Development Management Information System, SPIA report, and improves monitoring of sub-regional data sources. 4, improves coordination of MDAs and local governments around a single source of sub-national data for PDM, local economic development. And for researchers and universities, the portal provides access to updated, validated data set for rigorous policy research, evaluation, and forecasting of sub-regional resolutions. 2, co-produces advanced analytics on forecasting, training of next generation of analysts, and turns research into deployable public good features. Value for money. The portal is expected to produce cheaper, faster, and greater uptake of statistics and information for all stakeholders, thus improving economic management and planning. In short, area-based and commodity-centric intelligence yields better choices, better execution, and higher returns per shilling. Exactly the culture that the tenfold growth strategy calls for. Sustainability by design and maintenance. We deliberately avoided a vendor-dependent high OPEX system. Instead, the ministry used their existing partnerships with Makerere University that established the Makerere Innovation and Incubation Center, a joint platform fully administered by the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and Makerere to deliver and maintain the portal as an in-house public good, faster to evolve, simpler to run, and cheaper to sustain. Under our operational framework agreement for the ABCD portal, Makerere University Innovation and Incubation Center develops, enhances, and operates the portal on behalf of the ministry, while all data, analytical models, and the IP remain the property of the government of Uganda under the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. The MIC Inter-University MOU further anchors university collaboration for field data, analytics, and capacity building, explicitly recognizing that the ABC data sets and outputs are government property aligned to national objectives. The model delivers 4 dividends. 1, cost effectiveness, no heavy licensing investments. This is build Ugandan talent. 2, speed and agility, and this is of course iterative rollout as user needs evolve. 3, capacity in growing cadre of local developers and analysts who can sustain and extend the platform. And 4, institutionalization. Our department of incubation center, data pipelines and validations are embedded in the MDA routines. This is how we ensure the portal endures and improves year after year. Honorable Minister and colleagues, imagine the transformative potential we are launching today. A farmer cooperative in Mbale will be able to check the portal to see price trends in another district and plan better. A district council in Acholi will use this information to lobby for a processing plant by showing the untapped potential in that area. A foreign investor exploring opportunities in Uganda will be impressed by the level of transparency and data available, perhaps tipping their decisions to invest in one of our industrial parks, among others. Lastly, as we seek to grow the economy tenfold, data is the new oil, which continues to yield more insight and can't be depleted. By treating data as a strategic asset and investing in platforms like the ABCD portal, Uganda is positioning herself at the forefront of evidence-driven development in Africa, with shaping our decisions. I would like to recognize the technical team drawn from the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industries and Fisheries, Ministry of Local Government, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Uganda Revenue Authority, Bank of Uganda, Ministry of Information and Communications, Technology and National Guidance, NITA-EU, and all public universities, the private sector, for their technical support in developing this solution. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my singular honor to invite the Honorable Minister of Local Government to launch the area-based commodity development portal for Uganda. Thank you for listening to me, for God and my country.
you very much, Manakagwa. Dear friends, senior leaders, commissioners, our Vice Chancellor, Makere, heads of institutions, representatives of the private sector, the farmers, development partners, civil society, dignitaries, all invited guests. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I take this opportunity to welcome you to this event. Just talked to the Minister of Finance, and he has told me to stand in for him. Local economic transformation. My ministry is mandated to coordinate the implementation of the decentralization policy and to ensure that local governments are democratic, accountable, and capable of efficient, sustainable, people-centered service delivery. Within this mandate, the local economic development strategy tasks us to help local governments and the country to move beyond administrative routines to business-oriented locality development, stimulating investment, stimulating jobs, and ensuring increased incomes for our households. The ABCD portal gives our lead strategy, lead meaning local economic development, the national strategy translates this lead policy into capacities, coordinate and finance pathways for local governments. The ABCD approach aligns precisely with these locality-based instruments. It concentrates effort on commodities where each area holds advantage and integrates the full value chain inputs in production, aggregation, processing, market transportation, name it, within the entire value chain. Mindful of the specificities of each geographic area. The portal supplies the microdata to make this work, where volumes are rising, where infrastructure is missing, where standardized capacity is needed, and where market access can be unlocked. Mr. Kagwa has talked about our PDM, and we all know that the parish development model is our frontline vehicle as the NRM government to move households into the monetary economy. It adopts the parish as the operational hub with 7 pillars and production. parish asset register to commodity pipelines by eliminating where enterprise groups and suppers require extension service, require standards, require finance, and flagging shocks or challenges we have in agriculture like pests, floods, passing roads and others at an early stage, so that as government we can have targeted response to each parish, each sub-county, each district. Program approach in the National Development Plan implementation. Local governments will use it to prioritize infrastructure development, social services, and community advisory services. You both will steward standards and quality. NITA-U will ensure secure interoperability, and sector MDAs will link extension, certification, energy, roads, water, social services, the real demands of each parish, signals all given at the portal or by the portal. This is how we translate the national plans into local opportunities, and how the regional development agenda and the local economic development approach are meant to function together. Allow me, colleagues, to illustrate, just as the previous speakers have done, the efficacy of this portal in practical value in terms of area-specific cases that our local governments, our farmers, our private sector, our academia can adapt immediately after launching this portal. Let's look at, for example, the cattle corridor beef value chain. This portal should help you in mapping rangelands, water for production, veterinary services available in the area, stock routes, market nodes, and I hope this will help the farmers and the investors in beef value chain to guide you in terms of investment in feedlots, in abattoirs, in cold chain, in certification, and any other that adds to the value of our beef for export and for our own consumption. All this should be coordinated through the district fora using the parish-based data. Let's look at another example, Lake Choga fisheries or fisheries in general. The portal should help our fisher folk in tracking land site volumes, hygiene and compliance in the fisheries sector, ice and cold chain capacities available, feeder road conditions, time upgrades and standards to satisfy the markets, landing site infrastructure, quality assurance services, and we shall certainly need all this if we are going to meet our domestic, regional, and global markets. Let's look at another example. Elgon Arabica coffee, or its high-value horticulture industry. I'm hoping that with this portal, we shall be able to use seasonal altitude belts data, farm gate prices data, primary processing capacity should be built better, and we should be able to identify standard gaps in the coffee and horticulture industry so that we're able to justify the micro washing stations needs, parking houses needs, last mile logistics, and we improve the value chain in the hillside communities for Arabica coffee and any other horticulture and other products. Let me take another example of the Ankole dairy industry. This portal should be able to help the farmer, the transporter, the processor, to align milk collection data with the chilling capacity of the various areas and various regions, power reliability, availability of veterinary extension services, enterprise growth pathways for veterinary and dairy in general, with other requirements for infrastructure, sequencing of various needs of the farmers so as to reduce losses, improve quality, and sell better both domestically and outside. I've been to Langwa and I know that they do a lot of oilseed production. This portal should help our farmers there, overlaying producer density for the oilseeds, improving the storage capacities, identifying road chokes so that local governments can act and intervene appropriately. And all this should be linked with finance, standards, capacities of the small, medium enterprises in oilseed production and processing, so that we move from raw grain towards edible oil, paste, and other products. This should ensure steadier incomes of our farmers in that region. Finally, let me look at Kigezi, where we have a lot of products in terms of potato, Irish potatoes and our traditional potatoes. But also this can apply in the Rwenzori, where we have a lot of passion fruits. My expectation is that the portal should be used to match, to aggregate, to strengthen analysis at the district level in terms of production, grading, seed quality, haulage, transportation, market access, and generally investment in these products that are specific and yet need quick intervention. 3 months, if you do not help the potato farmer access the right market with the right quality of product, then we shall have lost our produce. As with any data-driven platform, governance and ethics are not negotiable. We will uphold strong standards for privacy, responsible use, and quality assurance. I expect you both to continue to guide methodology and certification of official statistics. NITA-U, as I said earlier, to reinforce secure and interoperable architectures. As a Minister of Local Government, I want to continue calling on the local governments to collect and use the data transparently with community participation and feedback to the farmers and the investors. The aim is not simply to have data for its own sake, but to have data that moves us as government and the public in terms of moving faster, de-risking private capital, improving services, and ensuring that Uganda becomes a country where we leave nobody behind in terms of wealth creation. I'm glad I found Diana and my brother Kagwa talking about parameters to ensure that this portal succeeds. I listened carefully. I picked quickly the following 5. Because at the end of the day, me and you should sit and say, was this worth it? Was this an innovation worth our penny and our time? We'll certainly monitor it. We'll give it our attention. You have my pledge. I'm going to work with the sector leaders in local government so that we explain it properly to the political and technical officials in local government. Also, we are going to set up a team, a strategic joint team with all the sectors led by Minister of Finance, but with all of us together. So, in 2-3 years, I would expect that this portal will help the country in the following ways. And I hope we can monitor it and say, did we achieve these parameters? Number one, export growth in selected enterprises or enterprise commodities. Let's agree the country has a lot of things we are doing. Let's prioritize certain key enterprises, especially those linked to the PDM. See whether with this innovation in the next 3 years, there will be realistic, measurable, defendable increase in export growth for these commodities. Number two, we're saying there is no way you can talk about economic growth without the private sector. I want to see increase or growth in private sector participation, an understanding and utilization of government data. The data is available. Let's use it as farmers, as private sector. Let's see. And I hope the Secretariat or that technical team will develop measurable indicators that will be used to say, yes, this was worth it. It has helped the private sector to find it easier to access and use government data for their own investment and growth. Number three, we are talking about a program that is area-based. Just as I picked the examples, I said potatoes in Kigezi. I said passion fruit in Kasese or Wenzori region. So my expectation is that this portal will help us to realize economic growth of the selected sub-regions involved. Should it result in the economic growth of the entire country, then 100% we'll clap for ourselves. But my expectation is that we'll have some case studies, some pilot areas where we should say, here we made it. So give us the benchmarks right now. If you're going to talk about fisheries on Lake Choga, give us the benchmark. Where are we today? The 4th of September 2025. So those who will be here in 3 years will say, we started here because of this digital innovation, we have improved the growth of this sub-region. Number 4, effective data use and coverage by all stakeholders. Effective data use and coverage by all stakeholders. We've been working in silos, but I hope that we shall only be able to cover and to use the data available in the various areas. That drives me to number 5. We have, as Commissioner Kagwa said, we have various management information systems in government. We have health management information system, education management information system, environment, the parish management information system, and so on. I would like to measure the extent of coordination and integration of data systems of various sectors into a single, usable, sustainable platform. We can, Diana may want to remind us of the others, but for me, as she spoke, I said, okay, now I have something to measure. I'd like to welcome and recognize our Vice Chancellor and to thank Makerere Innovation and Incubation Center for partnering with us in this undertaking. I have been a member of Innovations at Makerere some time back, a similar program that again was bringing various stakeholders to champion a number of innovations going beyond mere academics towards development. But also I'm a proud student of statistics of Makerere University. I can therefore attest to the capacity of the university to handle this assignment. We need you to bring the other academic institutions together. We need to keep putting our heads together. And as I look in the room, proudly, these are all Ugandans. We have not brought an expatriate now to help us on this one. I've been told there are some farmers, I don't know, can I see them? Or farmers representatives? Yes, you're most welcome. I'm a proud tea farmer from Bushenyi, and I welcome the involvement of farmers in ABCD portal. I want to call on farmers associations and representatives. Specifically, take advantage of this innovation. Let's use the data to improve our production, our productivity. Let's target the right markets with the right standard quality products so that the vision of His Excellency the President of ensuring that by 2040, Uganda is among the first-class countries, that we don't have a household that is still living simply to feed, that we produce goods which are attractive not only for us but even to the export markets. These are our commitments, and I want to conclude by making a special appeal to local governments to make the portal your first reference in district development plans, budget conferences, and other fora. I've been a district planner, and I know the value of data, but also I know the value of well-analyzed data. You can have data which is not helpful. And at one time I produced a district statistical report for Mukono district. That's where I was working. And I told the councillors, this is the number of fish we have in our lakes, the male and female. And so many are pregnant at this time. And the councillor said, sir, what are you talking about? I said, if we have this kind of potential in our lakes, then we should be able to project our revenue in the next 3 years to a better level. We must use this kind of platform to institutionalize routine updates and joint reviews at the locality level, from the parish, the sub-county, to the district, to the cities. It is my request and humble appeal to the local governments. To the MDAs who are here, the ministries, departments, and agencies of government, please align your sector actions to the portal's signals so that extension service, standards, policy development, infrastructure development, financing and budgeting, enterprise development can all take advantage of this innovation. The private sector and financial institutions, the academia, you are key in this innovation. Use portal evidence to appraise working capital and asset finance. Co-design bankable area-based investment pipelines with district and national development agenda. Spearhead research, study, and improve the platform. Development partners and universities, I want to emphasize, you are key here. Align your technical assistance. your experience, your training and analytical skills to this subnational evidence-based platform. Support the local governments to build our capacity and sustain the portal. On behalf of my ministry and on behalf of the Ministry of Finance and government in general, I want to sincerely thank and appreciate. It's not being selfish, but I know that what we are achieving, much of it is, let's give credit where it is due, the support and work of the local government officials, the district officers, the city leaders, the municipal officers, the sub-county leaders, the parish extension workers, the production officers, commercial officers, wherever you are. And of course, I won't forget the last mile person in government, the parish chief. You're the ones who have made this platform possible. You're the ones who are making Uganda tick and move fast to the higher levels. So your stewardship will determine its long-term success at every level. Finally, this time, and final, with these remarks, and in partnership with all stakeholders present, I'm pleased to declare the area-based commodity development portal officially launched today. I pledge the cooperation of my ministry and the Ministry of Finance in particular towards the continued partnership with all of you in making our economy more competitive. Thank you for God and my country.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate the Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, we'll have a formal launch very shortly where you're going to digitally launch, since we're talking digital. But allow me very quickly now invite our Vice Chancellor, Makerere University, on behalf of the academia to pass a vote of thanks to the Honorable Minister. Please note, Professor, he was wearing two hats. He's a very important man. He's representing the one that said money is coming, but also he's representing the local government. So, Prof, you have a very difficult task. A vote of thanks for both portfolios.
The Honorable Minister of Local Government, who is also representing your colleague, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Magezi, the Director from the Ministry of Finance, Mr. Kagwa. I know there are colleagues here there's the Vice Chancellor of Moni University here, and I heard you reading the list and you left out Moni University. And all the other colleagues from academia, all government representatives, the farmers, private sector representatives, and should I say the PI of this project, Diana. Honorable Minister, we want to thank you very much for making the time to come here and launch, for us, a very important portal. I want to congratulate Diana and her team on this innovation. I think this is long overdue, not just for agricultural products, but for mineral development, for fisheries, as you have said, Honorable Minister, and for all the other economic activities in the country. The advice you have given to all of us is timely, and it is always good to have a minister who has a technical background. Because you very quickly listened and then even gave direction what we should do. That is extremely important. I would like to thank the Ministry of Finance for partnering with Makerere, especially the Innovation and Incubation Center. And as you rightly said, Honorable Minister, this portal has been developed completely by our Ugandan young people. And I want to assure you that there is no reason at all for the government to go outside Uganda looking for IT-related issues. Because these Ugandans, the students from Makerere and Muni have gone under Huawei, the Huawei competition several years and beaten the whole world in IT. We have developed systems for the universities which are much better than systems that the government has bought at colossal sums. But the universities are prepared and ready to partner with the government to ensure that this portal is used properly by our farmers, by all the administrators at local government. And personally, I think it should help the parish development model succeed. And as an academic, I want to take this opportunity to encourage all of us Ugandans to ensure that the parish development model works. And it doesn't matter whether we have different political beliefs. This is the best chance we have had to move our people out of poverty. And where things are not working well, we should all move in and rectify, but not just criticize. I want to thank you once again, Honorable Minister, and of course we miss those days when you were part of us at Makerere and part of the innovation, the Millennium innovations, and you definitely helped us a lot to move from just university teaching, but really embracing research. Once again, thank you very much, and thank you everybody for coming. This is an extremely important venture, and once again, congratulations, Diana and your team.
Thank you, Professor. Professor, don't go too far. Please stay there. I'll invite the Honorable Minister back, Honorable Minister and our Director, Economic Affairs. But also, since we are speaking about private sector, I'll invite the CEO, ABI Development, to join them. And then I'll invite our technical team to set this up. Maif, Commissioner Paul, please join Mambu, because as the Minister mentioned, fisheries is very critical, and all the other crops he mentioned, but he was very passionate about the potatoes from Kigezi. There must be something special about the potatoes from Kigezi. So we will digitally launch, Honorable Minister. The technical is going to show you how they do this. So I'll invite to the Honorable Minister, who will digitally launch, and we'll have this on the screen. Technical team, please put it on the screen. There you go. Honorable Minister, there you go. It will count down. 3. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. We can leave the launch page. Please give us the landing page. Bring it back. I'll have the Honorable Minister and the team now make their way to the stage for the photo. Let's have the launch page. Honorable Minister. Diana, you will join, because Diana is a project implement. The Minister said, Honorable Minister, the stage there, join with your colleagues. And since this photo is also not very gender sensitive, I'll invite Nita. We're talking digital. Nita, please come, so that we add a little bit of gender in this photo, Honorable Minister. So I'm trying to make sure that when the photo goes out, we don't look terrible. I've added a bit of color. Yes. So, Honorable Minister, again, thank you so much for launching this, the area-based commodity development portal. And this is the formal launch. Can we once again appreciate the Honorable Minister and the team for launching this area-based commodity development portal? And the Minister has given us clear KPIs. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you so much. I'll allow for the technical team, as soon as the Minister and the team are seated, we'll have the video. Honorable Minister, thank you so much. He has other engagements, so in case he runs away, do not say so much, because we are aware he's extremely busy today. So, Honorable Minister, thank you. I'll now invite the technical team to run the portal launch video.
There should be audio, so we'll quickly check. There you go. All right.
As you may be aware, Uganda is on an ambitious path to rapidly accelerate the development and the growth of the economy from 61.3 billion US dollars last financial year to 500 billion US dollars by 2040. This means we have to have a clear strategy for developing our economy, and that strategy is embedded in the National Development Plan 4 and the tenfold growth strategy. The tenfold growth strategy, we have 4 anchor sectors, or what we call pillars, and that is agro-industrialization, tourism, mineral development, including oil and gas, science, technology, innovation, including ICT and the creatives. When we look at agriculture, something we always call the backbone of our economy, because it employs over 70% of our people and contributes significantly to services closer to the people, and also to improve the productivity in agriculture, and it's in its marketing and value addition. We have opened a new chapter with the launch of what we call the Area-Based Commodity Development Portal. This is a platform that's been designed to transform the way we access essential data, insights of Uganda's commodity performance across all sub-regions. For years, Uganda's agricultural value chains have faced a number of challenges. This includes inaccurate access to the right inputs and of course the market. These barriers have been because we don't have enough information that we can share with the farmers, the aggregators, processors, and with the market. So the portal is coming to address this challenge of information asymmetry. A lot of people have taken agriculture as subsistence, others as a hobby, with the result that the planting could be done without knowing the season, the market, and without knowing where the storage can be. A lot of people suffer post-harvest losses, which is estimated at 20 to 30%. The Area-Based Commodity Development Portal is Uganda's digital takeaway to comprehensive commodity value chain data. From production and processing to market performance tracking in real time, the platform amplifies complex data, enhances transparency, and bridges gaps in data for evidence-based economic planning and interventions across Uganda's sub-regions. The portal represents our commitment to the tenfold growth strategy and the agro-industrialization development agenda, providing real-time insights to support timely decision-making for farmers, for aggregators, for suppliers of inputs, and for buyers in the country. The portal is accessible via computer or a mobile device. The portal provides user-friendly navigation across commodity value chains, real-time data visualization, and secure digital access. Citizens, farmers, policymakers, researchers, purchasers of commodities, and other stakeholders can now access critical commodity data anytime, anywhere, tracking key metrics from production through processing, storage to market performance across coffee, maize, and tea value chains. These are the 3 we have started with. We designed the platform to monitor performance indicators critical to value chain improvement, utilizing AI-powered analytics and GIS mapping to provide consistent, updated, and reliable data. The launch of the Area-Based Commodity Development Portal marks a milestone in Uganda's digital transformation journey. It is also marking a milestone in transforming the way we deal with agriculture and the way we transact and the way we do farming. It is more than a system. It's a bridge connecting government, private sector, academia, sellers and buyers of goods, and shaping a future where commodity value chains, information is just a click away, supporting our path towards the US 500 billion economy by 2040.
I thought we would all appreciate the team.
So a big congratulations to the private sector development unit and the entire team for the launch. And I'll quickly now dive to our next remarks from the Ministry of Agriculture. And I'll invite Mr. Paul Mwambu, our Commissioner, representing the Honorable Minister, to come. You're also wearing a big hat as Honorable Minister. Please come, make your remarks. Thereafter, I'll invite our Director. He is managing our next session to come and take over this session. And that will be the final part before the final takeaways. Can we warmly welcome our Commissioner, ladies and gentlemen?
My name, as already introduced, I'm Dr. Paul Mwambu. I work as Commissioner Crop Inspection and Certification at the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. But as indicated, I have the privilege and honor this morning to be representing my Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Honorable Frank Tumwebaze. He sends you warm greetings, and he would have liked to be here. It was until yesterday in the evening that circumstances changed, and last minute I was dedicated to come and represent him, which also gives me a great honor and privilege to be standing before you here today. Colleagues, you'll allow me to first of all make some simple remarks and overview about this portal before I go to read the prepared speech for the minister, because it is an opportunity to have such an audience like you, and I believe it is also a great opportunity to explain to you my role in the Ministry of Agriculture and Industry and Fisheries. Colleagues, as a ministry, we are structured in such a way that we have about 4 distinct core areas. There is that which relates to crops. That's what we call agriculture. There is that which relates to animal industry, that is animal health. There is what relates to fisheries, which is fish. And then there is what relates to extension services, that is the knowledge and advice in each of those 3 core areas. So as a Commissioner Crop Inspection and Certification, my core role in the Ministry of Agriculture is to regulate plant health. And plant starts from the seed, the fertilizers you apply, the plant protection products like pesticides, to the quality of the agricultural products. So my span of control in the ministry is to relate with plants. But we have an equivalent commissioner for animals, and there is an equivalent commissioner for fisheries. So mine, I will be speaking mainly to plants and plant products, but which form the bulk of what provides our food every day on the table, but also what feeds the industries and also for export trade. So in brief, what I would like to say about this landmark innovation by the Minister of Finance is that we are very excited, particularly myself as a commissioner who is in charge of regulating plant health, this whole value chain, right from the seeds. I now see an opportunity that we are able to map out all the input dealers up to the village and parish level, which is a great opportunity for me as a regulator to know where all these input dealers are. The input dealers for seed, for fertilizers, for the pesticides. I see a great opportunity to also map out all the producers and the processors plus the exporters, and therefore in the course of doing our work as regulatory scientists, then we can be able to make sure that we ensure conformity to standards. But more interestingly, this system provides an opportunity for easing one of the biggest challenge issues for us. As regulatory scientists, our role is to facilitate trade. And in facilitating trade globally, there is a new stringent demand called traceability. The consumers are increasingly demanding to know where exactly this coffee, this tobacco, this rice was produced. And you can imagine using manual methods to do this traceability is near to impossible. But with the capabilities in this portal, I think this is going to help us a great deal, because in the traceability in these premium markets where you have very highly developed markets offering very good prices, they even want evidence of what did you rely on to confirm to us that this is the right traceability. Now, this capability is enabled in this portal, and this will be very good. But also very interestingly, since we are dealing with global markets, I see, and I want to really think, that another capability from this portal is that we shall be able to fairly accurately predict the expected quantities or volumes from each of these areas. Because the other aspect I see, which is very good, is the area-based concept of trying to georeference to a smaller area for you to be able to zoom in and be able to predict. So we think that this is going to be very helpful for us who work every day to ensure that farmers have quality inputs, but at the same time, we work to ensure that we facilitate trade, especially export trade, because no commodity of plant origin can leave this country without our authorization, neither can it enter without our authorization because of issues related to biosecurity. So as a chief regulator, I cannot be more grateful to Minister of Health, to our dear friend Diana, and congratulations, Diana. I think what you are launching today is very relevant to our work, and we want to thank you, Finance. Thank you very much. So then also we are very happy that in our midst is the Vice Chancellor. Okay, they are Vice Chancellors. You know, many of us are from the age bracket where when we went to university, there was only one university, and that was Makerere. So we are trying to learn that there are more than one. But the Vice Chancellors present here of public universities, we want to encourage you to use now this opportunity where we are going to generate data of high integrity, that most of these topical issues about trade, about volumes, you interest your academic research teams to have some of these items enter onto your research agenda, and you help us to analyze this information and inform us on how to proceed. So I want to thank you, and those were my personal remarks in my substantive capacity as Commissioner. So permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to now proceed to read the prepared speech on behalf of my minister. So, honorable ministers, permanent secretaries present, representatives of ministries, departments, and agencies, private sector representatives, academia and development partners, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to this important occasion, the official launch of the area-based commodity development portal, which marks a significant step in our collective effort to transform Uganda's agricultural sector into a more competitive, evidence-driven, and resilient foundation for socioeconomic growth. The portal provides a virtual one-stop platform for high-frequency, sub-regional commodity intelligence production, processing, logistics, and markets so that our policies, budgets, and private investments are timely, targeted, and accountable. It converts dispersed low-frequency data into actionable insights for value chain actors and public managers alike, enabling us to anticipate bottlenecks, place infrastructure where it will unlock throughput, and measure results with precision. It is, in short, the ministry's operational compass for agro-industrialization. The fourth National Development Plan sets the national goal to achieve higher household incomes, full monetization of the economy, and employment for sustainable socio-economic transformation under the theme of sustainable industrialization for inclusive growth, employment, and wealth creation. It prioritizes high-impact growth areas, especially value addition and industrialization, anchored in agriculture, while leveraging science, technology, and innovation, abbreviated as STI, and ICT. Within this prioritization logic, NDP4 explicitly elevates value addition to agriculture, inclusive of infrastructure that supports value addition, and the knowledge economy, digitalizing governance services and integrating systems to raise productivity. Colleagues, as the lead for the agro-industrialization program, the Ministry of Agriculture is tasked to handle the following key areas: to enhance production and productivity and competitiveness, to develop and operationalize value addition infrastructure, to strengthen harvest and post-harvest handling, to strengthen specialized extension, to integrate science, technology, and innovation in agriculture, to strengthen farmer field schools and cooperatives, to de-risk the agro-industry and eliminate counterfeits, and tighten coordination, legal, and institutional frameworks. The program objectives reinforce this, the program objectives reinforce this mandate to raise productivity, improve post-harvest handling, develop and optimize value addition infrastructure, expand market access, increase access to agricultural finance and insurance, and strengthen coordination. The portal operationalizes this agenda by guiding where and when we should take action. It provides the geoanalytics to sequence value addition investments to agroecological advantage and raw material catchments. The monitoring to track post-harvest losses and utilization of facilities, and the evidence to align PDM enterprise choices with the nearby processor demand, thereby accelerating full monetization of households. It also embodies NDP4's call to integrate ICT across government systems for efficient, productive service delivery. Colleagues, as the Ministry of Agriculture, these are our priority interventions under NDP, which in our view are going to be enabled by the ABCD portal. Post-harvest and cold chain. Guided by the portal data, we will be able to carry out targeted interventions in areas like construction and rehabilitation of cold rooms in markets, regional meat cold chain trucks, and milk collection centers, including rehabilitation of non-functional sites and new installations where catchments warrant to processors to receive consistent quality inputs. So the data will help, we envisage that the data will help us to be able to locate our post-harvest cold chain where they matter most. In fisheries and aquaculture, this ABCD portal is envisaged to be able to help us to align our investments in aqua parks, and these include ponds, hatcheries, and mini feed mills, and also in the laboratory accreditation, in quarantine centers, and feed support to clusters with high potential, ensuring year-round supply for fish processors. The portal also will be helpful to us in having data-led siting of zonal farm service centers and zonal mechanization centers, which are going to improve access to appropriate technologies. And where the data from this portal is also going to be very important to us as a ministry is especially in the area of pest, vector, and disease management, especially when you note that it is going to be enabled with artificial intelligence capabilities. So we are scaling the diagnostic and the compliance laboratories, ICT-enabled surveillance and reporting, parish level capacity, and climate-smart practices, issues about drought tolerance, early warning, efficiency, water use, agroforestry, etc., all targeted by ABCD early warning signals. Now, these early warning signals from the portal, we look at this as really being very useful to help us to develop the industry better. So as I come to the end, I would like to call upon specific sectors to be able to work with us, to collaborate with us to be able that we get the maximum out of this portal. To the ministries, departments, and agencies, including local governments, our call is that you integrate the ABCD portal into your program implementation action plans. When you're planning, in budgeting, in M&E, and NDP4 should decentralize these plans to strengthen ownership, use the portal's evidence to set priorities, targets, and budgets, and to institutionalize results, reviews at district and sub-county levels. To the private sector, our call to you is use the portal's production, logistics, and market analytics to identify viable processing locations, structure offtake with the cooperatives, and the risk investments consistent with NDP4's prioritization of value addition and enabling infrastructure around it. To the farmer organizations present here and cooperatives, our call to you is to organize volumes to processor specifications using portal signals, time sales, and adopt standards based on verified demand, and work with our specialized extension teams where the data show capability gaps along the value chain. And remember, in all our export endeavors, you need to understand the demands of the market, then you work backwards to ensure that you conform, otherwise your products cannot access the market. To the academia and development partners, we call upon you to co-create predictive analytics, independent evaluations, and capacity building around the portal. And this will help us to expand commodity scope and ensure sustainability. We also call upon you to include in your research agenda all these aspects of data that are going to be generated under this portal. In conclusion, colleagues, NDP4's results framework is clear about what Uganda must deliver by 2029-30. The agriculture's pathway is value addition, productivity, and monetization at scale. The ABCD portal is not just another system. In our view, it is the digital nerve center of agro-industrialization and the tenfold growth strategy. Turning data into disciplined investment, into disciplined extension, and disciplined standards enforcement. By coupling this portal with NDP's 4 program interventions, post-harvest systems, mechanization and water for production, enhanced standards enforcement, fisheries and aquaculture development and surveillance, climate-smart production, we will lift farmer incomes, expand agro-processing jobs, and grow higher value exports. Let us therefore seize this opportunity as government, as private sector, as farmers, and development partners to ensure that data becomes the driver of competitiveness, of productivity, and inclusive growth in our agricultural sector. For God and my country. Thank you.
So that hand clap was for the commissioner. Can we now clap for the minister? He had 2 hats on and made 2 key statements, and we want to appreciate you, the Minister of Agriculture, for your remarks. And I'll quickly invite my director, who will now take over this session. Director, this session is exactly 1.5 hours, as guided by the program, so we can allow for a Q&A session. Then we will have our very last summary of the key takeaways as our final conclusion of today's launch event. Allow me to invite the director to take over this session, and all your panelists are here, sir.
Thank you, Maurice, and good morning once again. I think we are in the mood. This session discussants, though the presentation has not been made, but I want to call the discussants here, as Mr. Enyimo also comes here to make his presentation, which is the purpose and power of the ABCD portal. Here we'll be understanding the why, how, and the future. The discussants I have include Mr. Peter the Muzungu. Maif, is Peter around? Okay. Can you take your seat there? Then there's Miss Julianne Reggio from NITAU. We have Mr. James Kiza from UBOS. Then we have Dr. Madina Guloba from EPRC. We also have Mr. Yasin Sendaula from Ministry of Local Government. And last but not least, we have Dr. Julia Bolia Chigozi from Dean Makerere University. I used to be a teacher at Makerere University, but I never progressed to be a dean. So I'm very happy to see the dean. Where's Mr. Nyimu? He was seated with me and he's supposed to make a presentation. Okay. Mr. Nyimu, this is not a movie launch. So can you come and make your presentation? Thank you.
Apologies, session chair. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. I have the honor to walk you through the silent features of this portal by way of a presentation. And just 2 or 3 remarks before I go into that presentation. At the Economic Development Policy and Research Department, we generate and manage knowledge for formulation, implementation, and communication of the country's economic development policy and its results. And it's indeed a delight to be able to add the ABCD portal to our growing portfolio of knowledge platforms, including the Development Policy and Performance Portal, and also the State of the Parish Economy and Asset Register. We believe that the ecosystem necessary to close these knowledge gaps and drive evidence-based policy making is maturing, and I'm very happy to have you participate in that process. Thank you so much. Now, with respect to, where do we point this? This way. Okay, good. My aim in this presentation is to inform you as stakeholders of the portal and the benefits it provides for sub-national economic management. Many of you are familiar with economic management, of course, at the macro level. We have those macro aggregates, but they hinge on the assumptions of what is happening at the sub-national level. And so that's what this brings on the table. What is the ABCD portal in a nutshell? Number one, it is an approach. If you're familiar with the NDP3, this is one of the systemic shifts that was proposed as an approach in the delivery of the National Development Plan. The ABCD portal is a tool, but we have this tool serving an approach, and that is the ecosystem that this tool helps to bring to play. It is also something that helps to tell the story of national development from the different component parts of the country. We are familiar with the regional division of the country, but we notice that the economy of the country has peculiarities that are unique to particular sub-regions. And these sub-regions tend to be dominated by particular economic activities and actors. And it's important to be able to zoom in into that in its area-based understanding. So that's what the portal allows. And then finally, as indicated by the Honorable Minister of Local Government, the local economic development strategy has taken root within government, bringing local governments into the mainstream of contributing to the character of our national output, but also into the export basket of the country. And therefore, this strategy empowers local governments to drive their contribution into the economic development story. The ABCD portal sits within a strategic policy framework. It is not a new kid on the block in that sense. One, it is well anchored into a major program of the NDP framework, that is balanced regional development, which provides for a number of aspects, including how to expand the local tax base and also detail regional specific planning. NPA is unfolding this. They have already delivered a plan for the Karamoja sub-region. It also sits within NDP 4 in the same program with a different prioritization focus in terms of driving decentralized services. We are aiming to strengthen the social compact really between local governance and the citizenry at that level, the people who pay those taxes. And of course, you're familiar with the 14 agroecological zones that we are working on. The Ministry of Finance also, a couple of years ago, about 3 to 4 now, put out the successor strategy for the National Strategy for Private Sector Development. We now have the NSPSD 2, and a major emphasis of this strategy is actually what we call sub-national private sector development. As you know, about 60% of the face of GDP is in the Kampala Greater Metropolitan area, and it's even higher for manufacturing. About 70% of manufacturing activity revolves around GKMA. So we are saying it's about time that we democratize GDP and also democratize manufacturing. How do we move it to the other areas? And through the ABCD portal, the knowledge and understanding for that will be brought on the table. And that's just to give you the sub-regional perspective. As we continue on what is it about the portal, it will allow us to do with, first of all, mapping economic activity in terms of scale, and also understanding how mature are these value chains, where are the entry points for public investment, for inclusion, and for their participation in regional and global value chains. Number 2 is tracking. How are those value chains gaining traction over time? And then we also rely a lot on high-frequency data. As an economy matures, you know that Uganda is already met the criteria for graduating out of the least developed category of countries, meaning that the middle class in Uganda has become sizable. The economy is becoming sophisticated, and you cannot just wait for survey data, which comes after 2-3 years. You need high-frequency statistics in order for your policy actions, adjustments, to be effective and relevant. So we look at the portal as something that will deliver this high-frequency information. And then finally, in line with the budget theme, digital transformation is how modern governments are running. It allows for a number of efficiencies. It's also good for transparency and accountability. So through this portal, we'll be able to integrate a range of systems. I don't have time to list them here, but chief to note is, of course, the Parish Development Management Information System, and the rest of the others that Maif has alluded to in the remarks from the minister. The portal, beyond that characterization, provides some solutions. It is not just a descriptive portal. It has some elements of moderated AI that allows us for real-time analytics, that you can transform data into statistics as it helps you with some basic organization of that data. We hope to close information asymmetries in the market, and therefore improve market efficiency by being able to connect markets and production centers with real-time knowledge. And that's very healthy for the competitiveness and the productivity levels of the economy. We expect to provide some consistency in data. You notice that official statistics tends to have shades of variations at the moment, but by bringing this through a one clearing house, we'll be able to iron out those inconsistencies and tell a common story as stakeholders in this space. And then finally, of course, there's the whole issue of evidence-based policy making. We have the adage that says what you can't measure, you can't manage. And so as managers of the economy, we are counting on boosting the credibility of our policy decisions and options based on this data. There are many technical aspects about this portal. I don't want to go into those technicalities. We have more competent persons in the room to do so, but suffice it, let me just highlight that we are beginning the development of this portal in a context where we have incomplete data, but also the level of the granular level of the data is not very deep. And so we've segmented it into two parts. In phase one, we are managing what you'd call a first generation of data parameters. They are not very wide, neither are they very deep. And so over the next 2 or 3 years, we will be enhancing the scope, but also the depth of these parameters to allow for, sharper analysis and more area-specific accuracies in terms of the margin of error in the data. And then after that, as you'll see later, we'll go into a second generation of parameters. So this portal, in a sense, is going to drive our data reform agenda across different MDAs, because we'll be able to see where the patches are and therefore bring public investment and M&E really to interface. The portal has major methodological aspects to it. Like I said, it's bringing in different streams of knowledge and expertise, but allow me just to focus on 3. There are software development aspects in this portal, and the team at MIIC and its network has been very instrumental in that. Then there is the issue of sourcing the data from the relevant authorities, because this data has authority centers, and the process of securing agreement on the terms and use of that data, cleaning it, analyzing it, and standardizing this data for use has been a major part of this methodology. And then, of course, the system, ensuring that there is system rigor. And we have the portal audit and feedback mechanism where NITA-U has been a very helpful partner in the process. Moving on to value chains, we have a picture there showing the occurrences of these value chains across the country. And you can see clearly that this portal represents a very large footprint of our economy. Commodities are still a big stay of our export basket. In their primary form, they account to about maybe 49% of the export basket. And if you put in processing into that, it even goes higher. So the national character of the portal is something we are really delighted. It will also be able to bridge central government planning and local government planning in real time. The conversation between district planners and we who sit at the center will be strengthened through this architecture that we are rolling out here today. Now, as indicated to you, we have a first generation of data, and when that data was combed, we found that there were only 3 value chains that had the minimum threshold to be able to work with the dynamism of the portal. And that is coffee, maize, and tea. And these particular commodity value chains are spread in those respective regions, 11, 14, and 7, representing 128, 146, and 50 districts respectively. So it's very inclusive and also very comprehensive. Otherwise, we have, as you'll see later, the range of commodities is much wider that we have programmed for this. The portal, of course, enjoys a whole of government and even a whole of society approach, because some of the authority behind this data lies outside the public sector. And those are some of the agencies that are represented there in the respective value chains. In terms of the benefits and the value addition that these players bring, we have a range of them there. Excuse me for the size of the font, and allow me just highlight a few things. From the perspective of the Ministry of Finance, this is an asset for us in terms of economic management. In terms of foreign affairs, you know, we've recently launched a strategy for economic and commercial diplomacy. And when you're interfacing with markets, they have to understand the dimensions of your capabilities. And we have a credible reference source that they can visit. UBOS, authenticating, of course, official data. MAIF, production and productivity data will be critical. Ministry of Local Government goes without much say. It's a local economic development and the rest. So we've provided the entry points and the value proposition for the different MDAs within this equation. We are optimizing really how we are going to invest in data. So that gives you a peek of the range of value chains that we are looking at moving into. And with this set of value chains, you touch literally every corner of our country. And these are the agricultural commodity value chains. But we don't stop there. We understand that there is more to the value chain economy than just agricultural. So we also have the non-agricultural commodities. Chief among them is oil and gas, gold, limestone, and then there is a range of other intermediate manufactured products that rely on these commodities as well. I did make mention earlier the logic of this from a strategic point of view, but I want to dwell on the tenfold growth strategy. The tenfold growth strategy is hinged on really the success of our export strategy. We have a triple target. Number one, we would like exports to deliver and account for about 50% of our GDP. Within those exports, we are aiming to achieve manufactures of about 50% of all our merchandise exports. And then finally, within the merchandise exports, we are aiming for another 50% share of medium and high-tech export products. Now, we will not be able to deliver that without a very granular understanding of how the different players in the different regions, in the different value chains are feeding into the national export basket. I think this is what really is at the heart and the crux of this portal. And then, of course, we link to all the other elements, including the strategic plan of the ministry. I think also the other beauty which I see in the portal, which you can walk away with, is the portal helps us to speak to public investment management. As you are aware, every project in government happens within a locality somewhere. And sometimes there are duplications, there are overlaps, you know, M&E information is not timely. And so by combining data, you know, local area data, combining it with the different program project portfolios, we are able to understand the relevance of these projects. The PIP has over 400 projects, and to be able to understand what do they mean for our value chains. is something that this portal will allow. The estimates for the development suggest that we deploy about 5.6 billion investments in projects across these areas currently. That's a lot of money. And so, given that the tenfold growth strategy is about ATMs and enablers, we would like to understand which project is enabling which ATM and how. And then we will pick that conversation and take it forward. I'm going to skip a couple of slides just because they are largely on technical issues. But I think this is also one I need to highlight. For a long time, of course, Makerere has been the giant within our tertiary institutions, but over the years, we've licensed a number of other public institutions, and these typically follow the sub-regional approach. So through the portal, we have an opportunity for the first time to bring on board this principle of the triple helix into play: academia, industry, and government, and not just do it at the level of Kampala. We will be expecting active participation by these public universities in their respective sub-regions in terms of the research and data generation for this portal, whether it is internships or publications, and make them very relevant for their economies at that local level. So they will be signing up MOUs with all these universities, and therefore facilitating real-time research that is relevant for industry. Allow me skip. I will skip that. Am I pointing this thing in the right direction? Okay. So this is the timeline really that we are following, and just to let you know where we are, we did the final testing with NITAU. We proceeded to present this to the unit that is home to this, and then we quality assured it as the responsible department in the Ministry of Finance. We took it to the directorate on the 30th. Approval through our top management structures. We went through university inception meetings and then focus group discussions with the same. User acceptance tests have been run at different levels, and the technical working groups for co-creation of the content. And here we are today, step number 11. We are launching the portal. The journey continues. It's a very long roadmap, but the vision is clear, and the timelines have already been set. So that's really where we are following. I will skip also that slide. Maybe for your benefit, areas that we are going to be testing around the dashboard navigation, GIS mapping, value chain analysis, or the analytics to make sure that they are credible, robust, and you can give us feedback. The portal has mechanisms for that. The comparison performance tools, and then the professional reports access on the portal. I have a couple of technical slides there that will be boring for you, so let me just skip them. All right, I think I will make mention of something here. In terms of O&M, we have designed this portal really to be a very low-cost solution. We are riding on areas where government has already invested. So we are leveraging government employees. That means we're not paying additional salaries for this. We are integrating within established government systems and institutions, whether they are digital platforms or organizations like universities. We are also relying on technical expertise and collaborative governance with research communities for feedback and validation. Training is happening both in person but also through virtual avenues. and as part of the education system itself, so that the people that are coming out of these institutions are grounded in terms of solutioning for local problems in their localities in the country. Whether they are graduate trainees, interns, placement programs, we expect to use those to enrich the portal. And then, of course, MIMIC to undertake continuous system maintenance, upgrade, and provide the technical support. And we'll be working on implementing a communication strategy that allows this portal to be indeed a whole of society asset. Finally, we have a range of next steps, Chair, to complete the MDA data integration processes. As I said, we have the second generation of parameters, so value chain diversification and improving the quality and scope of analytics, and then just soliciting buy-in and drumming up society to run with this, scaling university partnerships, system enhancement and training, and public launches and awareness, this being the premier one. There will be a range either at local government levels or within the different universities. So that's really the story of where we've come from and a roadmap to where we are headed. And we welcome you to interact with us by following the contacts that are available in the presentation. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Back to you, Session Chair.
Thank you so much, Joseph. You have set the stage. And for me, I can only say a few things that our 10-fold growth strategy is the blueprint for rapidly expanding our economy in a transformative, sustainable, and inclusive manner. And then this portal is important. You put it in that context. Because what are we looking at? We have seen that we need to, first of all, increase the returns on public investments. We do a lot of public investments, but we want to see value for money from that. And then we want our private sector to be competitive. With this, I think we can't do things in the same way that we've been doing them over time, and we expect that we will grow our economy rapidly. So it's going to be business unusual. And all of us, private sector and the public sector, we must have a shift in the way we are looking at our economy. There have been some good things. For example, our export basket has diversified. In 1997, I think coffee used to account for about 77% of our export receipts. But by last year, it was 18%. We have added 31 new products on our export list. But then also our share of manufactured exports has gone up to 24.6%. But these are simple products. The value added is not so much. With those ones with technical or technological complexity, about 2.3%. It is something that when we are looking at this, we say, where do we start? Now we are looking at agriculture. And I'll go to Peter and pose to him this question. We have been having improvements in the delivery of extension services and data collection. However, lack of knowledge among farmers persists, which undermines productivity and value addition. So, what specific training programs and support are you going to put, or are in place, or are you going to put in place to help farmers production officers, and extension officers to effectively provide the necessary data for the portal and also for the farmers and all other stakeholders to be able to increase productivity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Session Chair, Director. And once again, I want to congratulate the Ministry of Finance for putting in place this important portal. You know, it has not been simple. This has been work which has been extensively consulted with all of us involved, and we are happy today to have this product come to fruition and also going to use it in the long run. As a ministry, we have a number of training programs, but we also have structures in place that are going to assist in this important intervention. One of the training programs is that through our district production department at the districts, as a ministry, we've been able to support them in conducting trainings for district agriculture officers, district veterinary officers, the production officers, and the entire sub-county extension officers in all regions of Uganda, because these are officers that are in each district and there is already a structure in place. And the key aspects here, we are looking at promoting good agriculture best practices, as well as requesting them to compile and generate data which can help us to plan for the country. The other aspect also in terms of the training program is that we now have the National Farmers Leadership Center in Kampiringisa. And again, this one, we are using it to empower farmers, largely in agribusiness training, and it is supported and funded by government of Uganda through the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries. So with this model in place, again, I think as a ministry, we can learn from here. We can put the requirement of the data of this system into our curriculum at the National Farmers Leadership Center, and we can be able to support the system in that vein. As a ministry also, we've put in place a number of projects. For example, we have the Climate Smart Agriculture Transformation Project. We have projects like the National Uganda Farmers Livelihood Improvement Project, and all these ones are geared to promote and provide training to extension workers and farmers on basic and advanced production technologies and data management in one way or the other. And again, apart from just looking at advanced production, we are also looking at skills development in value addition, in post-harvest handling, in market-oriented agriculture, among others. And we know that through such trainings and empowering the extension workers, we are able to generate good data that is going to be used in this system. When I look at the support structures as a ministry, the ministry has a Directorate of Agriculture Extension Services, and this one oversees all agriculture technology diffusion and interventions in the country, but it also manages the agriculture extension services delivery in the country. So this is also one of the backbone. It is one of our support as a key structure where we are able to streamline the importance and the need for the data in this model, such that we can use this already established structure to guide quality assure, but also generate information services in the long run. As a ministry also, in terms of structures again, we've also put in place agriculture extension guidelines and policies. This model comes in very handy. As you are aware, all of us are implementing the National Development Plan 4, and as a Ministry of Agriculture, we are taking lead under the agro-industrialization program. And through the agro-industrialization program, we are also aware that we need a number of guidelines, a number of policies to guide the sector and promote increased production and productivity of all the commodities that we are talking about. So, as a ministry, we have the National Agriculture Extension Policy, for example, and the National Agriculture Policy, which streamlines a number of interventions, which guides the sector. And again, as we bring into play this model, it is one aspect where we can use to collect information, guide the sector better, but also plan for it in a better way. We've also promoted the e-extension system. This one largely showcases agriculture training videos in local languages. It provides weather advisories and crisis information. As this model comes into play, it is one way of generating the need here and incorporating it in the e-extension service that we can work very closely with Ministry of Finance to see how best we can support and also gather this data fit well into this model. As a ministry, again, we have spearheaded structures like the farmer institutional development, putting in place a number of capacity building programs for the farmer organizations and institutions. This is really geared at improving their technical skills, their management skills, and also supporting them in one way or the other in terms of increasing and improving their production. And we know that when we empower them, then through our relevant structures and officers, we are able to generate this information that is very important for this kind of model. We also have other capacity building initiatives. For example, we are carrying out training of trainers where we are able to identify key people, go-getters within the communities. These can be community-based facilitators, these can be village agents who we provide, we conduct trainings, we give them skills, skills in best farming, agricultural practices, and market-oriented agriculture. And we've really empowered them to look at the most reliable data that we can get to ensure that we can support this model. On top of that, we're also doing refresher trainings for our staff. We've provided quite a number of refresher trainings to the DVOs, DAOs, and all the other categories, the fisheries officers, to update their knowledge and skills in the area of farming, but also in the area of extension services. And this is one way how they can better their standards and also support in collection of this information.
Thank you so much, Peter. I think that was very comprehensive. People are still complaining about fake seedlings, seeds, and also fake fertilizers. I don't know how we are looking at that. In Kenya, in the dairy sector, they have reached out to almost all the dairy farmers, and there is information that is passed to them regularly on the phone. You don't even have to ask for it. It's sent to you to know different trends that are coming into the industry so that farmers can learn. There are also radio shows for extension workers that are at the local level. There is a day where the farmers are being sensitized on different things. They tune in and ask questions on what's happening. So it's something that maybe we can look at. James, you know you are the principal collector and processor of data, including agricultural statistics. How are you empowering MDAs, local governments, to produce and disseminate quality and timely agricultural data? Because this is really important for people to make decisions. So how are you doing this? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is James Kiza, Director Digital Solutions and Data Capability, in short IT. Basically, we produce a number of statistics, and agricultural statistics is one of them. We have been doing so mainly through the censuses. We have a crop census, we have an annual agricultural survey, we have the livestock census. These ones take 5 years. The surveys take typically 1 year. We actually have a crop census next year. We call it a UCA. In a move towards adopting admin data, we find this as a welcome development. The Bureau has tried to improve the infrastructure at the local level by providing tablets. You remember the tablets that we used during the census? We've provided 2 tablets per parish throughout the country. We've also provided a tablet to every district statistician or planner and every district IT officer. We've also provided tablets for every PDM liaison. The PDM committee has, I think, 2 tablets each throughout the country. So we are trying to get as much data from the source as possible. We also look into the standards of the data that is being collected. The best way to manage standards in systems is to ensure that you are picking this data from the source. Whenever you have data capture being done, the person who is doing data entry is not interested in what they are doing. They just want to finish a job. And so you find that a lot of errors are generated as a result. If you move that data collection to where it's generated, you'll find that you're addressing data quality problems. I think that is all for now. Of course, I had other things that I would talk about, but probably let me give my colleagues opportunity as well.
You can talk about them briefly. I don't want to come back to you.
Okay. Looking at the presentations, there is, as I sat there, I tried to look into some of the innovations I've been part of. Your payment process today in URA, I was at the heart of it, and that gave me a bit of insight. When the minister was giving his notes, there are expectations that he laid out. Now, most of the time when we are developing applications, we are looking at the transaction processing and are not mindful that there are 3 layers. There's the operations, there's the tactical, and then there's the strategic. The strategic has its requirements that you must distill to make sure that you are able to. Recall he was saying that we need to measure baseline and then know whether at this point we have made progress. Now, those things that help you measure how you are operating must be started now. If you wait until 1 year or 2 years, you'll find that the strategic is not speaking to the tactical. That was one lesson. Then the other one, I liked the pilot because you don't want to open many fires. You start with small, get your learnings, and then rolling out becomes a very easy one. How do we drive adoption? Adoption is driven if the tool that we are using, what I'm interested in is there. Usually, when a technology is being adopted, the early adapters are very few. And over time, as you gain the mass, and then the solution drives itself. Now, we are at this beginning. You need to invest effort in that adoption. Look for your low-hanging fruits that you can tap into, and then it will help you drive the adoption of the solution. Then also pain points. When a solution is addressing pain points, you have a lot of interest in it and make sure that it's adopted. So what pain points are we addressing? If we can list them, so much the better. The other one was you've requested for feedback, but you need to look for it. Because when users are using a system and they find a problem, they use an alternative. And as long as reporting is through this system and through this one, the new information will be scattered all over the place. Before you know it, after 5 years, there's no progress. And then I think let me stop there for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. James, now I come to Julia from NITAU. These are people who deal with our systems, with IT, now artificial intelligence and what have you. And they usually give guidelines to government bodies to secure data. So, what measures are in place to protect personal business data and ensure that privacy and security of information, to ensure security and privacy, the protection of privacy of information that is shared on the platform? Because people may fear a lot of times when your boss goes to collect information, people first start thinking, should I give this guy the right information? During census, there were some people who couldn't give information on how many TVs they had because they thought that now your boss is going to take this information to URA to say this fellow has 5 TVs, so you should pay more tax. So they wanted that privacy, and I think your boss tried to provide privacy by not leaking this information to anyone else. So what measures are you putting in place so that the guys who are going to provide the information feel comfortable and secure? Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Uganda has come quite a long way in regards to providing an enabling environment for us to be able to do what we're doing in terms of online and digitization. And we have been seeing that growth in terms of digitizing or providing these services, the portal being one of them. But at the core of that is data. There is data that is being collected, and you've been hearing everybody talking about data that is being collected. So what are the measures we've put in place? I'm going to talk about 3 categories. I know Maurice gave us 1.5 hours. We're not doing so well so far, so I'll try to summarize. The 3 categories, one of them is the legal and policy, framework that is already in place. And this is under the Data Protection and Privacy Act 2019, which most of you must have heard about. The other category I would look at in terms of measures is from the technical perspective, which we'll also talk about. Then lastly, the organization and operational measures that we have ensured that are instilled in most of the government entities. Let me start with data protection and privacy. In that act, there are principles that have been laid out for personal data and also for the data subjects. We call them data subjects, but basically these are data collectors, the data processors, and controllers. These principles say that if you are a data collector, processor, and controllers, the following principles need to be applied. One of them is is transparent processing. When you're collecting this data, what are you using the data for? You need to inform the owners, the individuals, that I'm collecting your data for me to be able to give you the service. Like you've said, I'm collecting data about crop, but why are you asking me about my TV? So you need to have that principle set in mind. The other one is the purpose. What is the purpose of that information you're collecting? I go to URA, and the purpose of collecting the information about me is for tax purposes, and should be strictly for tax purposes, meaning the person who's collecting it, you only need to use it for tax purposes. You're not expected to use my data to start doing something else. Those are the guiding principles that are set in that law. The other one is data minimization. I've come for a service in, let me give an example, driving permit. I've come for a driving permit, but you're asking me about my father's name, my mother's name. You need to minimize the data that you're collecting for me for purposes of the service that you're supposed to provide. The other one is storage. How long should you store my personal data? Those are principles that are set in that act. You're expected to follow those guiding principles. There are quite a number. I think the other last one is intellectual security around that data that you're providing, which brings me to the next technical measures that we've set in place, which I want to talk about briefly. Now, around the technical aspects to it, we work with most of these agencies, institutions, whenever they are implementing government systems, whenever they're implementing these applications across the board. You are expected to provide encryption on the data that you're transmitting from one end to the other. We always ensure that that is in place. Data encryption. The other one is access control. Who accesses the data in the institution? Who is allowed to transfer the data? Who is allowed to see the data? Those are measures that are usually set in place within the technical measures that we've set, and this one is specifically under the National Information Security Framework that provides those guidelines and principles which we work with most of the entities. Under the technical measures, again, I'm trying to go through very quickly. We have the network security, we have the secure configurations of those systems. A lot is around technicalities. I want to go to the last category, which is operations and organization processes. In the Data Protection Act, you are required, all entities that are collecting data, you are required to have appoint a data protection officer for purposes of compliance, ensuring that you're compliant within this law. We are actually having cases right now in court as far as data breaches are concerned. So now people are starting to understand and appreciate, oh, by the way, I'm collecting this data. If it is misused, I will be taken to court. I think there's been an interesting case of recent, which some of you could have heard, of these money lenders, these online money lenders. Once you subscribe to them, they pick all your contacts and use the contacts to start, soliciting for their money back, in case you're not. They have been taken to court because I came to you for a service, but you're using my data for something else, not what you, okay? So it is important for us to ensure that we have the data protection officer who's normally trained. We always carry out these trainings and always carry out security audits. NITA provides security audits to entities. It's a requirement for those that are running systems and are collecting data. Incidents reports, you need to report incidences on data breaches so that we see how to help and support. Just 3 last points for everybody to keep in mind of. is that when you're implementing systems and you're collecting data for whatever purposes it is, you need to be mindful of who you're sharing this data to. So data sharing guidelines are also in place, which you have to follow. 2, we want to ensure that you have what we call the privacy by design. When you're working with most of these institutions that are implementing systems, we try to ensure that there is privacy embedded within the systems that you're developing. So those are some of the measures that we try to put in place. And then lastly, cross-border data sharing. You are not supposed to share data from Uganda to another country unless that country has data protection laws in place and have guidelines that we subscribe to as government of Uganda. So there is also a restriction there. It's not a matter of, because we are East Africa integrated and we are sharing this data, we need to ensure that those are some of the things or measures that are put in place. Over to you, Director. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. You know, we had a very big war when the coffee bill was being passed on data, because people were thinking that when you emphasize traceability, it was about knowing how much coffee someone has so that they could be taxed. But they didn't know that this was important, because the countries where we are exporting require that we get to that farmer where he is and where the coffee is coming from. So sometimes this data collection can be misunderstood. A lot of researchers, instead of, they use the religious leaders, because people in this country are religious. So when you use the church or the mosque, then they feel freer to divulge this information, other than to maybe UBOS, to go there and start counting. Something that I think we should look at. Now to Mr. Yasin Sendaula. Regional development is one of the programs for the NDP4. This will help highlight the development needs across different local governments, because of their what you call sub-regional comparative advantage. To have this, of course, to achieve this, there's need to have available data so that we can look at that. And local governments are key in ensuring data is collected from the grassroots to inform policy. So what key interventions are being done by your ministry to ensure data availability, so that this will inform policy, will inform investment decisions, and generally economic management? Thank you.
Thank you, Moses. And I want to thank everybody here that has come to the launch of ABCD portal, and also thank the team, the Minister of Finance that is behind this. Before I go into the key interventions the ministry is doing, I'll have to first state what does the Ministry of Local Government do. As a Ministry of Local Government, we are excited about the ABCD model portal, given the fact that the Ministry of Local Government is responsible for inspecting local governments, it is responsible for monitoring local governments, it's responsible for ensuring that local governments comply to laws, policies, instruction of government issued from time to time, and also ensuring that local government incorporates national priorities, strategies in their district development plans. By and large, officers in the Ministry of Local Governments, we are compliance officers to the local governments. Now when it comes to the ABCD portal, we are now capturing it in our radar to make sure that whatever is expected of them, it is done. The data is one of the issues that been emphasizing on local governments, that they should make decisions that are based on data. We cannot talk much more about that. We just need to emphasize. Except when I was seeing the presentation by Mr. Nyimu, in the stakeholder analysis, the stake of local governments was rated as low. And I think that is, Chair, that is totally wrong. All the previous speakers, I've heard them saying that we are using local government staff, we are training, the research, the extension services, the training, all takes place in the local governments. So, moderator, I want that one to change, that local governments are at the stake and at the heart of this portal. Coming to the area-based, moderators, you are aware that the Ministry of Local Government has been responsible for the Regional Development Program and even NDP3, and also same with the NDP4 now. What excites us is that we want to see regional development across the country. We are very optimistic that this will work, because also we needed it, not today, but yesterday. Probably, before I go to the information, our major concern is that the piloting on few crops is okay, but we are very uncomfortable with piloting in local governments. Moderator would want all local governments covered, because as a ministry, we are responsible also for harmonization. We want the same systems across all local governments. The notion of saying, let's pick few hanging fruits. Picking hanging fruits actually is for lazy animals. The serious animals, they go for the up and juicy ones. But these ones which are about to fall, those are for the lazy animals. So let us not be lazy. Let us go for all the fruits on the tree of Uganda. When we make mistakes, we shall correct them. We shouldn't fear to make mistakes. Otherwise, we will not move. I know for the fact that there is no system that is error-free. All systems have problems. We shall improve and add value as we move along. So this business of piloting and we remain in pilot forever, moderator, it doesn't work. Let us be in all local governments. I'm saying this from the previous interventions that we have had before. We had a system called Logix, Local Government Communication and Information System. Actually, we are doing it together with the Makerere University. But because of piloting, we failed along the way. And I like also the previous predecessor when he said that when we are to collect this data, we should not collect data for the sake of collecting data, but we should collect data where we have business processes. And all these business processes take place in local governments. When you look at the logical flow of the ABCD now in the view analysis, that we have a farmer, then we have local governments, now we have Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Agriculture, and we need exports at the lower end so that we export and we earn some dollars, and we have the 10 growth strategy for our GDP. Now, the moment in that process flow you miss out the local governments, you are going to miss. Ministries cannot be the link to the farmers. The link to the farmers is the local governments. So we need system to be strengthened at that particular moment. Maybe this one also helps me because of previous speakers have said of data protection of the systems. Mr. Newman team, that's one of the challenges, interventions we faced. I'll not mention agencies here because we wanted to interface with the other systems. But at times, because of capacity gaps in some institutions, they say, there's data protection, you are not supposed to do that. Julian, we are in the same government, we serve the same government, there is no need for us to care less that institutions should not share data. If I wanted data in your areas, how much coffee has been exported, I don't think there is wrong with that for us to be able to make a policy. But
if you ask about the people who are actually exporting,
yeah,
URA may say, no, we'll give you the export volumes, but not the people, because of data protection.
Exactly.
That's what Julia was saying.
Exactly. So what my issue is that we should not have on minibus to say we cannot share data. I should state why I need this data and for what purpose, so that the system can talk. But the challenge we have that the systems we have today in our government are not talking to each other. They are using different platforms. Even when you ask for the APIs, you don't get it. So some of our initiatives, the Ministry of Local Government, actually have been hampered by that challenge. Otherwise, I can go on and on. I think others will discuss.
I want you to go on and on. Thank you so much.
I don't want to take a lot of time.
Thank you so much.
But we thank the team that will continue supporting the Ministry of Finance in promoting ABCD. Thank you.
I thought you'd talk about the state of the parish economy and as asset register, because that addresses, and Mr. Kiza pointed out that they had a lot of laptops, and they sent them to the parish. Yeah. And what is the parish supposed to do? The parish chief and all the PDM people and the district people, they're supposed to collect information, which is going to feed into this portal and on all those things that that we're doing. I'll go to the Dean, Dr. Julia Chigozi. To deepen the ABCD approach, the tenfold growth strategy highlights the need to strengthen collaboration between sub-regional academic institutions, local governments, and district private sector actors on commercialization and modernization of local production and marketing systems. How can research made by academia contribute to sub-regional development?
Thank you, Moderator. Julia Chigozi, School of Food Technology, Nutrition and Bioengineering, Makerere University. I would also like to add my voice to the team, the ministry, for this beautiful innovation. I think we're really, really happy and excited that it's coming at this point. From the view of academia, just to point out, there are many universities now, some chartered, some not chartered. Many, at this point, they're churning out different graduates, many relevant courses. You've seen, I think, we've also been tasked to make sure we review our curriculums to make them relevant. So academia are knowledgeable, trained from all over the world. So you have a great task force in this academic institution. Also to note, we have a wealth of young people, bright minds in the universities, capable of doing so much, capable of innovating in so many ways. I think as mentioned earlier, the ABC portal is a good example. We have a lot of expertise that we, on our own, the training that we've done. But for me, the key question, and maybe one in the room, is how to bring this wealth of information to be able to address national, local, and to cause us to develop effectively. I think that's the big question. But as academia, we are ready. We've been ready for a while. We have even strategized our actions. Makerere, for example, is going research-led. Other universities have all these innovations. We are strategizing to be able to meet national relevance. This portal, at this point, I think is a very good one. It provides information to help focus us. As you well know, we do a lot of work, but sometimes it's dependent on who the donor is. Yeah? But this is a good platform that now will understand, okay, this is a national need, this is how we should target ourselves, this is what we should do. You've talked about commodity-based or whatever it is that is in our 10-point program. This is now a place that we say, okay, this is what is required, we have this data, it can help us. But one of the things that I still think that we need to focus on a bit more is to develop the pathways of how we can all be integrated to do this. Being able to have a pathway which is well monitored, well financed, and is able to address key issues at any point. So if you said, for example, mangoes coming from Kasese or passion fruit have been rejected somewhere for this sort of reason, is it possible to quickly have those at an academic institution tested, find out what the challenge is, have a research done so that this doesn't happen again? Somebody is got to be able to ensure that happens. It's got to be a system. It has to be well financed. Otherwise, then, needs are not met. The other issue, we note that a lot already is going on in this academic institution to already meet some of the needs, as you've spoken. But often it can be, done in different places. It's not coming together. Sometimes we are even duplicating actions. But having a platform where all this comes together, where we can receive information dispatched, someone is making sure this is acted upon, it's financing, it's monitored. If it hasn't been done, who is seeking help from somewhere? Because we are, as universities, we are also integrated in so many platforms internationally and can be able to access information or solutions or even successful stories on how to do various things. So how can this be done, for me, I think is one of the questions. If we can have this portal integrated in such a way that this can happen, I think would be wonderful. Academia would be more relevant to ensure that whatever was strategized for happens. One of the other things that I see, even in doing all these things, we're going to have to increase the capacity of universities. Sometimes we are called on to do certain actions. I'm supposed to know what is in a certain crop or a product, that has been rejected. But you might bring it to us and the equipment we have has broken down or is almost obsolete. So we cannot be able to give real-time information. But if the infrastructure built in these academic institutions for analysis, for research, is also really good, and to address national needs, I think we would go a long way. Lastly, a question that always tickles in my mind, and maybe for academia as well. we churn out a lot of graduates who go out there and eventually feel like, okay, what are we going to do? And we all know that if you have knowledge you're not using, sometimes you end up losing it. So you have a graduate who has a lot of knowledge, but they feel that they probably can't do anything. So how might we be able to engage these graduates at an early stage? We have really bright students in this country. Often even when you send them abroad in different universities, they'll come up top. In other words, they're able to do several things. But how might we engage them, not even just in the universities where they are, but at a larger scale? I like the example in Ghana where students, when they graduate, are supposed to serve in various places for 1 year. They go to the local governments in different capacities. So immediately a student has left a university, they're in possibly the local government, serving there for a year and ensuring maybe data is collected, innovations are going out, research is going out. At the same time, you're getting them quickly to practice what they've studied and possibly even do better with that. But the country benefits from a national service in a big way. Okay? Instead of having so many young people not being able to do something, they have the capacity, but they're not really using what they have studied. Sometimes they'll go on and just decide to do business or do something because they don't have the place to use what they've got. So how might we as a country in a bigger way utilize this task force that comes out of universities in a bigger way? Thank you.
Thank you. Dean, very good point. We have seen that universities are no longer academic. You know, when they used to talk about academic, that means that the word academic was synonymous with the word theory. But now we are seeing that universities, at least, are more practical. They do research that is relevant and practical. And I think for all you've said, I would want to see how we can incorporate you into the national budgeting process and the agenda setting of the country, so that we don't really leave you behind. These points need to be heard, and we see how we can take them forward. Thank you. Dr. Madina, this wasn't meant to be that you are the last, but they always say you save the best for the last, not so. So there you are. In 2020, you identified 9 potential commodities for fostering sustainable agro-industrialization agenda. And of course, this included coffee, maize, tea, beef, fish, dairy, cassava, oil palm, and cotton. EPRC has also conducted further studies, market studies, on the above commodities, which identified potential for industrial linkages and the transformative technologies that was required, and investment areas with a high potential and multiplier effect. How do you think the ABCD portal will be helpful in mitigating the risks and threats that were identified, especially in production and market levels? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks to the audience. And being the last, I know everyone probably wants to leave and go for lunch. And Chair, I think that's a big one. But as EPRC, we have come a long way with the marriage we have with government in terms of ensuring evidence is playing a key role in policy planning. And Chair, beyond even the commodities that we actually advised, I would like to also to bring the audience that through the Commissioner's Department and Diana, they went ahead to commission a specific issue around the value chain in terms of livestock. And I think that's around in 2021, they requested for specific information around the livestock value chain to inform their ongoing evidence support to private sector development. And I think one of the things that came out clearly, Chair, is there was something around livestock, that issues around gaps in traceability. Traceability systems affecting our transformation. And I think that's one of the things that informed the PSD unit to actually come up with the portal in a bigger sense. Because one of the things that we actually recommended was fast-tracking the establishment of a solid national traceability mechanism and investing in the collection of more disaggregated data. And that's one of the things that the commodities are going to help us do. So the moment we invest in disaggregated data at subnational level, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first critical point of us in terms of developing and also looking towards the growth that we want to see in terms of sectors we want to look out for. So without traceability, we actually, when we looked at all the commodities we actually were looking out for, it was not an issue of lack of policy or lack of laws around that, but the issue was in terms of lack of establishment around the systems to trace the commodities right from the grassroots to the markets. So we really actually advised through the unit to ensure that we need to set up systems that are going to help us improve traceability. And that's one of the things the ABCD model is going to support, to improve that level of traceability right from the grassroots. So without traceability, you will not be able to improve standards. You will not be able to improve our issues around branding, because as Uganda, you need that brand that is going to come from that element that's tracing where you're coming from is critical. So I think most of you have seen coffee of I think, Ethiopia. I think you've seen that, whereby New York, the hotel is grown in these Alps, in these soils, in these elements, and you can trace that, and there's a brand that's giving to that village within the Ethiopian mountains. So that's one of the things that we hope this portal can be able to produce for us. Location, issues around the soil quality from the scientists, and then the issue around standards. That's when we bring in the UNBS to see if this quality of branding and design is critical to make us marketable in terms of where we are heading. So that will also lead to issues around credibility. So and then when you go beyond that, Chair, one of the things that the portal, I foresee its advantages is, I know probably you both should have talked about the PDMIS, and I heard you talking about it, is how do we link the PDMIS to the portal in terms of collecting the data right from the grassroots, because not every one of us, as someone has said, can go there. As EPRSC, we also have where we stop in terms of this kind of data collection and to respond to the real-time issues that government wants this for planning and for budgeting. So the portal, in its own sense, using the government structures, the local government is going to come through, and the PDMIS linking that last mile data collection for us to come up from macro level planning. Because without the micro level data for planning, then the macro level systems actually also be a bit lost. So in that sense, we need to see how best we can link the PDMIS to the portal. And that's, for me, a win when we go forward. So in terms of implementation, even the 9 commodities that we actually suggested in terms of prioritizing, as someone from local government said, no, the low-hanging fruits, okay, those are the top-hanging fruits. Those were the 9 commodities that we were trying to suggest. So those are top-hanging fruits that government had suggested to start off with, because as you can see, the portal is going to be all over. But as also the top is also trying to look out for the top-hanging fruits first, where the data is existing and can actually come in. So that leaves a big gap for the other sectors that are not already on the portal to put in their game, because that means there's something missing in terms of data within the local governments for the other commodities that we need to feed into the portal to make it very functional. So local governments that are actually implementing, because they're all over, for livestock, we need that. For tea, we've seen it coming through. That means something is happening there. So you need to ask yourself, why were you not part of the people who are being tested? Because it means something is not happening there in terms of the data you have. Okay? So that means we need to ensure we put our game together to ensure that you put the data together for us to use it within the portal. And Chair, for me, the portal in its way, it's going to remove these issues of bureaucracy, whereby, you know, you keep going to MyIF, you look for data, they don't have it. Or you go to UCDA, they have collected coffee in a different metric. You go to CDO with their cotton, they have a different metric. And the statistics is also picking a different metric. So with this portal, we'll be able to have a harmonized metric collection and analysis. And I think we need to work together to ensure we are harmonizing how we are picking this information, how we are analyzing it, and such that we are not all trying to look for data in terms of from different agencies for clearance, because of the bureaucratic elements that come within data sharing. So this will be a one-stop point for us to pick information that is agglomerated for analysis and with a single informed point of view. So that's the role that as
add information and say, okay, Akagwa's farm has foot and mouth disease, but Enyimu's farm, which is close, doesn't have. Then they will be able to buy, they will continue buying our beef. But if this information is not there, then that becomes a problem. On a linking, I think that's an important point. All these systems at the local government or at the parish, whatever level, from the parish, sub-county, the district, should link with the portal, because now we are talking at a portal at the sub-regional level. So all this will be collected, and we'll get this information aggregated there, and we can be able to utilize it. So it's very important. And this, of course, is going to remove the problems we've had, especially research. You can move in a district trying to pick information from each household. And what happens? If I'm fatigued, I say, well, this is enough. Then the other one, I'll cook it and say this is the information in this district. So, but this one will help. I'll just be doing analysis rather than collecting. So there is no more value in collecting. Once this information is there, we'll have it and utilize it. When UBAS collects data for us, now we look at the household survey reports. We start looking. We don't go. And now I don't go to Bukedi or Bukedea to go and see how many poor people are there, the households. UBOS gives me that, and with that information, I can decide what policy intervention is required in which area. So I think this is really the whole purpose of this, because once you have information, you have power. You don't, then you analyze and bring up policy options that can be utilized. I think we've done well because we started at 11:25. You gave us 1.5 hours, so we have used 1 hour. I did. Now some questions, but now the questions you are taking that. You are paid to actually ask these questions and get them, and then these people answer. Thank you.
Can I appreciate our director for managing time. Director, to be honest, you only saved me 6 minutes. I have been watching the clock and wondering whether we would have enough time for questions, because we are between our delegates and lunch. So it's an open mic. I'm happy to come. We have other mics. If we will get one of the ushers to move the mics at the back. I'll start with this is also a conversation that needs young people. So I'll start with a young man. He clearly is a young man. And then we'll find the old ones later.
Thank you, MC. My name is Bala Moora, representing Professor Wilberforce from Uganda Management Institute. Mine is a quick comment to Mr. Yassin on piloting. In India, there was the ENAM, the Electronic National Agriculture Market. Initially launched in 2016. It had a few commodities, but then it was rolled out to about 176. In Tanzania, there was the TMX, the Tanzania Mercantile Exchange, initially capturing sesame seeds in 2014, but then it rolled out. And Mr. Joseph clearly projected the roadmap, which is clear. So piloting is the way. Thank you for these systems.
All right. Do we have another? Yes, there's a gentleman there. Keep it short because we only have about 20 minutes for both the questions and answers. Yes.
Yes, I'll keep it short. My name is Paul Martin Maraka, Uganda Coffee Federation. Our members trade, export, and finance almost 90 to 80%. When does this work? When can we, as private sector, plug in? Is it 6th of October? That's what I saw. That's the only question they wanted to know. Thank you.
All right. And the other platform, since we're digital, is that on your program, if you have your conference pamphlets, or at least the conference book, look at the program. We have 3 QR codes at the bottom. The one in the middle is the feedback QR code. You could scan that. In case you're one of those students in class, since we have the academia, who used to prefer to keep your hand down, but you are one of the sharpest in class. You can share your feedback quietly with us. We will still pick it. The QR code in the middle. Panel feedback. Can you also use the other QR codes? Yes, there.
Sorry, just one more question.
Quickly.
There's an existing traceability system we have built as the coffee industry, and it's between government and private sector. The question was, will this plug into that, or will it only collect information? Because for us, our traceability system has to be real time, otherwise we can't do business. For us, it's business, business, business.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
True. All right. Any other, very quickly? And we can be more specific on who exactly you've directing the question. All right, Director, over to you.
Thank you. I think there's one question. The other one was a comment to give comfort to the scene about piloting. The other one is, of course, whether, Mr. Nyim, are you answering that? When are we starting? And then whether the traceability system will be incorporated in this and it will not be jeopardized, because what they want is a system.
The specs and purpose for the traceability system is a lot more detailed. And so this will feed on the same way it feeds off like the SPEAR report and the PDMIS. Like we said, the launch of the system today, we've gone live on 3 commodities. And so we expect that as we get feedback like from the coffee fraternity, we will adapt the system to be user relevant moving forward. So that's the assurance we are giving. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
And maybe, Chair, later, I don't know if it is you or who, they will run us through that, how you maneuver the system actually. I don't know at what point, Maurice, you have to speak to that. Thank you.
Okay. I think that's it. I'll ask my panelists to give a parting shot. Just in a few words, we don't want a lot of explanations.
Thank you so much, Director. I think on behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, we want to commit our support to the system. Like one of the comrade, Paul, in the private sector said, this is work in progress. We know we have systems in place, but this is another opportunity for us to leverage on and also improve the way we collect data. So we want to commit as a ministry to provide what is required from our side, but also provide the data that can support the system to give us what is required. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. For me on my side is just to say you need to be mindful of the data. Data is very important. I think one of the speakers mentioned data is the new gold, but there's some level of responsibility on sharing data and access to data. As a country, data is where we need to go. Without data, we can't really do much. So with the systems in place, the security and the measures that you all need to adhere to, I think we are moving in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Data is the new oil, but you need to remember that it requires a fractional distillation column for you to get value out of it. The oil is smelly, it's black, it doesn't look nice. That column is the one which gives you aviation fuel, private motor oil, etc., etc. Let's make this simple and let it transform the way we work, because it should be transformative from the way I see it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yasin.
Thank you, moderator, Minister of Local Government and Local Government Fraternity. We're in total support of this. We already have things to write down. Moderator didn't talk about parish management information system because my minister and everybody had done that. But we have already ICT equipment in local governments. We have now ICT staff in local governments, and we have also trained the staff in change management and everything. We have other systems which are up and running that you can work with. And also, moderator, the private sector actually is already there. Like in Mbari, I can tell you that Starbucks is already there. It works with the local governments. They have an association, they have a private farms, and they are dealing with the farm associations to address the issues of traceability. But because of our data systems, we never capture the things. Otherwise, as local government fraternity, we are supporting this. We are with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Julia.
Yes, thank you. From academia, we are ready. We have the potential. We are training the graduates, so lots of resource available to ensure this happens. We know this is going to be great to make our work relevant and more targeted. So we really welcome this ABC portal with a big, big hand clap. We, although would like to have a system where we already as universities we are talking, but how can we have that system where we are talking into all these other MDAs, ministries, so that we are making this work and relevant for the nation?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I think that means me. I think for me, Chair, the takeaway is this is the first portal that has the entire value chain. At least in my data searches in Uganda, this is one of the portals that's going to ensure we have data in one point, from production to processing to exports. So the entire value chain, we are covering it. So the moment we have any problem, like recently when the president said there are aflatoxins in the groundnuts, the portal should be able to help us know which are the agglomeration points for groundnuts, to see how we can support the value chain in tackling the issues that are coming out, not at the end, tail's end, but from the beginning. So this is a critical element that I see the portal is going to bring on board in terms of the entire value chain information system.
Thank you so much. I will just give an analogy of Formula One. For people who have watched Formula One, you know how fast these cars, when they are moving on the circuit, and they have either run out of fuel or tires, and they go into the pit for that stop. you get amazed at how fast the tire is removed and also it's fueled. You can see 9 seconds, everything is done, and the vehicle moves. So that's where we are going as a country, and we should look at that and improve our systems to be faster and more efficient. That's how we are going to achieve the tenfold growth strategy. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we appreciate our moderator and the panel? So we will have a first moment as a panel. Cameraman, as I invite Maraka Patrick from Uganda Coffee Federation to come and just appreciate our moderator and the panelists. A very small token from PSDU to everyone. Back end, I want to request that the technical team stands by to do an illustration of the portal. Back end, please stand by. And Mr. Nyimo, with your presentation, you must join them. Commissioner, please come. Joseph, back end, please prepare. I'll allow you this platform to prepare yourself. So we want to appreciate our partners. Maraka is here now. Now you can also join, and then the small souvenirs should be brought. Can we have this? If I could have some. Oh, okay. Commissioner, the team at PSDU says they can do a pit stop. Yeah, in the 9 seconds you mentioned, the Formula 1 pit stop. So please hand over to Patrick, and Patrick will do the honors. You can start with our director, or you could start with Joseph on the other side and come this side. Feel free. Thank you so much. We want to appreciate our panelists. And director, I appreciate that love from your work. These days the pit stops are even shorter, in under 3 seconds, 2.4 seconds. I think the shortest recorded recently was about 1.9 seconds. You change 4 tires, and sometimes clean the visor of the driver, fix a couple of things. So we want to appreciate all our panelists, Julia from NITA, Peter from MAIF, yes, from local government, James Kiza, UBOS, Diana Nanono, of course, who initially made her keynote. Patrick is going to the factory, so he apologizes he didn't come wearing a tie. He says he usually has a tie on, but what is important is the tenfold growth, Patrick. It's not the ties. We must hit 500 billion. Don't you worry, Patrick. So we want to appreciate all of you, including, of course, Madina, from Dr. Madina, and everyone who's been part of this conversation, our very own commissioner. But as he guided, we need to give you back end and let the team know how this works. So may I invite our team? Just come and run us through how the portal works before we have, I do promise, 1 p.m. we are closing and we're going for lunch. So we'll run through the portal and then we'll close with our takeaways from today's forum.
Thank you so much, Maurice. Given the fact that I'm the one standing between our delegates and lunch, I'll try to make it so quick, just as in the pit stop. Yeah. So, team can help me cast on the screen the portal. Perfect. Yes. So this is just a brief iteration of what the portal is and what it does. And as you can see over here, it's just a landing page. It's already in live demo mode. And if most of you have accessed the program, you can also just scan the QR code on your far right to just do your personal demo. So the portal represents key 4 modules, basically the dashboard, which is the visualization and the analytics of the currently collected data. The GIS map, which is a representation of all facilities across sub-regions, industrial insights, as well as profiles, just as we shall see. So just to quickly walk you through it, the landing page, I won't take so much time to go through it, just informational, just to know the journey, how we're collecting the data, among other elements in there. But I'm right now to go to the dashboard quickly. I can just quickly walk you through the 3 value chains, as you can see over here. So just as shared earlier, it captures production, processing, and marketing data for the 3 pilot commodities we have currently on the portal. Again, this is just aggregating sub-regional performance data per commodity. I guess you can't find that else anywhere else. So if you go to the dashboard where we are currently, you can see it's going to give us a trend of how coffee has been performing over the years with that trend, as you can see over here. Same to maize, same to tea, and you can just keep switching between the value chain stages. Same to processing, and also same to production for 2022. Furthermore, you can go inside and do analysis and comparatives across the various sub-regions, just as earlier on mentioned. So over here you can see in tea, we can be able to select 2023 and see how Acholi performed, how Ankole performed, and Bukedi, among other sub-regions. And you can also build a trend on that. You can come and say how, what was the total land area coverage for coffee across all sub-regions. And you can see to automatically plot for your graph. So here, by way of order, you can see Central, Buganda performed more compared to others. So at least this helps to really give us an informative perspective on where we need to put most of our efforts in terms of investment and further interventions, and so on and so forth. In more light, it also has the GIS map. So the GIS map gives us a view on the distribution of facilities across the various value chains, across the 15 sub-regions. So here, it gives us a mapping of all facilities, whether it's milling facilities, washing stations for coffee, among others. You can zoom in and see exactly where they are across the entire country. So all this data has been made possible from the various MDAs and also from UBOS, as you see. So you can zoom in and see how much each of these has a capacity for production, for processing, as well as storage in there. So you'll also take some time to go through it by yourself and see the detail inside there. Furthermore, it gives us general industrial insights across the various commodities and sub-regions. So here you can see, we can be able to know how much population is being affected or participating and benefiting from the various commodities, how much projects have been established and the total investment, and being able to carve out the average poverty levels in various economic activities. So here you can see how much coffee performed and tea in 2024, and you can see the trend, as we keep saying, we are going up in this case for investment, among others. In the same sense, it has the preview of profiles, so you can be able to dissect the entire coffee industry profile in general. And this could be knowing the production rates, being able to know the regional distributions of that coffee, how much each of the sub-regions is contributing, that is the participating sub-regions, how much are all of those contributing to that, and being able to know the farmer development metrics in terms of income, whether it's increasing or it's low, the gender participation, and of course the acreage in there. In the same sense, you can see the export destinations and how much of that. Okay, so when you come to exports, you see how much coffee has been exported over the previous years to 2023. Maybe for disclaimer, the portal currently aggregates data from 2019 all the way to 2023, and as shared earlier, the vision is to bring this down to a more frequent basis in the coming few years or so. So we should be at least expecting to see this either on a quarterly or monthly basis, depending on the frequency of each parameter per commodity when those are collected. So here you can see the destinations, how much of that we exported to Italy, Sudan, among others across the entire country. And furthermore, the other profile you can also reference is the cattle corridor, those being also among the prominent profiles. You can also go in depth here and see insights around the livestock population trends, how much of that is employing, how much are we getting from hide and skin, meat production, as well as the meat, among others. So again, this is also meant to be broken down further to a sub-regional basis. And as earlier on we said, the problem is you won't find this data anywhere broken down to the nitty-gritties, because most of what we have is basically abstract high-level data, and now the portal gives us this breakdown to know how much each sub-region is contributing to that, and so on and so forth. And lastly, is to also just go back a bit to the value chains and show us the disparity of performance. So when you go to sub-regions, you can also be able to map out in real time and know the facilities across every sub-region per commodity in those over the map, and you can zoom in further and know how these are distributed across the country. So yeah, you can switch between processing facilities, storage facilities, and production facilities as well to automatically map them out. So more are to be captured. Most of what you're seeing here is public, but then also there's so much more data coming in from UBOS to also aggregate and display private sector data. In the same sense, lastly, the parameters. So all these are currently the parameters which are being captured on the portal for the case of coffee, as you can see over here. So you can be able to at least go through this data over the years and see exactly by just a click of a cursor on how we are performing across those. So if I go, for example, to coffee yield over the years, that's what it gives me. Coffee seedlings which have been distributed over the years, that's what it looks like. If it's number of farmers, it also plots the graph accordingly. So basically, it gives us a trend across the years over the various parameters per sub-region, per commodity. So in a nutshell, I think I'll make it that brief, but I think we have time to just really take our time and go through it by ourselves on the portal and be able to really make much more meaningful sense about it. Yeah, maybe lastly to communicate is that about the open APIs, so we want to make this available to integrate with systems such as the PDMIS, and as earlier on shared by one of the panelists, that not all MDAs so far are ready or are having those interconnectivities. So we want to at least be able to support the process of having an open data API where we can directly pick data from the various managed MDAs to interface with near real-time frequent data, at least on a weekly or monthly basis. Look at it like the stock exchange, where any investor would want to know where best they can put their money. So we believe if we have that open API, then also it will give us a clear representation of every sub-regional, district level or village level data incoming across the various value chain stages. So in a nutshell, I think I will end it there, Maurice. And yeah, just enter the audience in just scanning the QR code on the program to furthermore interact with it. And of course, as shared, we are very welcome to feedback to see how we can further improve the portal for a better experience. Thank you so much.
Any quick questions for him? You know, these back-end people are difficult to get hold of after this. It becomes difficult. They only will ask you, send an email. So before we send an email, we can ask all the questions. Okay. All right, I think you did a good job. Thank you so much. All right, so can we appreciate the team, ladies and gentlemen? Two things I needed to announce. Every time I pass the table, they asked, is there lunch? Yes, there is lunch. I don't know why people, Joseph, I really find it, Ugandans are very difficult. Is there lunch? You're keeping us here, you mentioned lunch. Is there lunch? Yes, there is lunch. When we are done, please don't go now. When we are done, on your way out, there will be someone to just let you know where we'll have lunch, and they will give you a coupon. But as I invite our colleagues from NPA to come and just give us a takeaway note, we have someone from NPA who will do the honors. I wanted to mention all the literature here is yours. It's not decorations on the table. So there is a lot of content that's been availed for you. The very first one from the PSDU team is the competitiveness magazine, which speaks to the conversation we had, and that is available for you. But also we have the second national strategy for private sector development that's available for you, and thanks to NPA and the team for putting that together. And then, as we mentioned, there is QR codes on the program for your feedback, but also for you to be able to interact with the portal. And we also provided other material, but these are the main two products I wanted to speak to. They are yours to take away. So in case you didn't get a copy, there's copies on some tables, or let the secretariat know at the back on your way out. May I invite NPA to close this conversation? We have a colleague from NPA. Yes. You have between us and lunch exactly 8 minutes, sir. I would love to close it at exactly 1 p.m. He says he did summary, executive summary. So.
Thank you, MC. I stand on the existing protocol. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to represent NPA, and my name is Kaseja Ronald. And basically, I will just summarize the event. And to start, I'll mention that the 4th National Development Plan, which is in place and currently under implementation, learned from the previous period of the implementation of the Vision 2040 that macro-level interventions need to be accompanied by planned micro-level household-based interventions. So this portal, the ABCD portal, comes at the right time when we need to intervene in terms of micro-level interventions. The NDP4 still focuses on delivering faster growth through the 4 areas of agriculture, tourism, minerals, science, technology, and innovation, including ICT. It also focuses on full monetization of the economy using the vehicles of PDM and Enyoga to reduce the subsistence that stands at currently at 33% thereabout. So still, this portal comes in at the right time when we need to focus on full monetization of the economy, because it targets the grassroots level people. So in terms of the agro-industrialization program, the focus is on enhancing production and competitiveness of agricultural products for domestic, regional, and international markets, strengthening the adoption and integration of science, technology, and innovation, including ICT in agriculture, and finally, de-risking the agro industry. So the portal plays a major role in providing real-time area-based microdata to improve planning, attract investment, enhance value addition, de-risk private sector entry, and improve efficiency of public spending. Therefore, the portal will be useful in amplifying the local area needs. That's it from me. I thank you for listening.
All right. Please let us know in case this is a conversation that is core for you. And I know a lot of the academia and researchers are here and would like a lot of this literature shared with them. The final word is from the team lead. Joseph, please come and close. After this, Joseph, I will not pick the microphone. You officially close and invite people to lunch, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the leadership and staff of the Ministry of Finance and our very esteemed partners, we thank you, 1, for honoring our invitation to be here today, 2, for your very keen interest in this engagement and continued development of the portal. We rely on your feedback to refine this portal and make sure that it is an asset that is of a societal value, not just the public sector. Allow me make 2 points, partly in response to the conversation that we've had. As part of the National Strategy for Private Sector Development, we look at the economy through 3 layers. The macroeconomy, there's something we call the meso-economy, and then the microeconomy. So if you recall, the minister did announce in the budget speech for 25-26 that we have rolled out an initiative called the State of the Parish Economy and Asset Register. That particular reporting framework has provided the mechanism to understand what's happening at household and micro level, and we can aggregate it up to the district. So we will be unveiling it effective 15th September as we go around the country for the budget consultative workshops. And we expect that that framework will feed into the ABCD portal, which deals with the meso-economy, industry, sub-regions, and of course then we aggregate that to the macro economy where we already have established institutions and systems. So from a governance point of view, we are also employing a value chain approach. I will just say, where is the value proposition? You're here as the private sector, you're here as academia. Let me just make a few points. We expect that this facility will help you with understanding your deal flow pipeline, mapping where there are surpluses and deficits in terms of aggregation of your products, and also just the price dynamics in the market. So help us with feedback on whether the system is allowing that to happen. You can clearly see our data is late by over 1 year, so that's something we already have to close because the market is operating with real-time information. This would be maybe for people who understand trends and patterns, but we will be fixing that as part of the first generation. Number 2, we expect that for both investors but also the public sector to have faster feasibility studies. It's been taking long because of putting together this data and validating it. So through this real-time information, we can shorten the time and lower the risks involved in decision making. And if we are not delivering to that end, do let us know, and we welcome your proposals also on how we fix that. Finally, we want to do smarter siting and offtake by understanding where these facilities are, their processing. We want to help you to cut down on your logistics costs. You can better map out what your logistics architecture looks like when you have this information. We will be engaging with you through the contact framework. As I indicated to you, we are unveiling a communication strategy, and it will include some rapid feedback mechanisms like on social media. Now, we count on you to take the word out, to mobilize people within your ecosystems, to make use of this, but also to feed in it. The portal is only as good as it is fed, and we are relying on that data. So we wish you very good value takeaway from the portal as you move ahead. And as taxpayers, we think that this is a good return on your investment. Let's make it better together. I thank you very much, and bon appetit.
All right. Coupons are available, and the networking continues at lunch. Please enjoy your lunch, and the secretariat is available for any documentation or any questions. Please use the platform we have shared. Our QR code available on the program is available and active. You can use that to get to us and to get to the team. On behalf of PSDU, we want to appreciate all of you for joining us and sharing half of your day with us today. and we wish you a good afternoon.
Takeaways are majorly because it encompasses everything from the different MDAs, such as Ministry of Local Government, Agriculture, and the rest, which this has not been in place before. We have all different MDAs have been having their websites, but we have not had such kind of innovation. Reason being, you find MDAs have been working in silos, but with this particular portal, we shall be working as a team and as a government and as a unity to move forward. So in my view, I feel like this is a very important avenue in the sense that it gets to unite government and it gets to give
As you may be aware, Uganda is on an ambitious path to rapidly accelerate the development and the growth of the economy from $61.3 billion last financial year to $500